NBC's presentation of NASCAR is brought to you by Pennzoil with Pure Base, made for the way you drive. Stop, go, Pennzoil. By Brewery Fresh Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR. Hey, race fans, this Bud's for you. By the Wide Track Grand Prix by Pontiac, wider is better. And by Route 66, jeans, clothes, it's not Main Street, only at K-Mart.
John Andretti is the new leader of the Pennzoil 400. NBC comes to you live from the Homestead-Miami Speedway with the inaugural NASCAR Winston Cup Series event here. Change in the top 5 positions in pretty wholesale fashion. Andretti by David Green. It happened just a couple of laps ago in this very same spot on the racetrack. Here it is.
Just a simple pass. John gets to run on David there, and David kind of checks up, lets him go. As we talked earlier, there'll be no racing 2x2 getting into the corner at either end of the racetrack early in the race here.
Now David washes out wide off turn 4, and both Bobby Labonte and Jeremy Mayfield slide up underneath him and go to the 2nd and 3rd positions. So Green back to 4th after leading the opening 7 laps of this event, and now it is John Andretti who heads this race early in the going. Now that guy in 2nd, he's got something he needs to accomplish here real fast.
Well, Alan, you'd think that most of the cars would kind of be taking it easy here, but as Mike mentioned, 5 points for leading the race. Now, you don't get up there very often. Bobby Labonte right now saying, hey, I need 5. If there's any way he'll push this thing to try and get at least 1 lap in where he can pick up his 5 points in the championship race.
But you see, he's got a little distance to go before he can catch John Andretti and try and put a move on him. Let's go to pit road. Dorsey Schrader.
But David Green was trying to work with John Andretti. John Andretti radioed in and said, I think I'm faster than you. My car's real tight in 1 and 2. If you let me by, we can work together. Well, guess what? When David moved over, his car is now tight in 1 and 2. He's suffering from letting him by.
All right, Dorsey, so you see David just barely in the frame there, top of the screen. He has fallen back to 4th position.
David shouldn't have followed for that one.
Yeah. All deals.
That happens sometimes. Hey.
Who is it that said a couple of years ago, any deal that's made on a racetrack is never going to be a good deal, because if it's proposed to you, you usually are the one who's going to lose.
Well, and definitely what happened there, Alan, is John's car was tight, which would mean the front end is not turning when he's up behind him. And then what's happening, the air coming off the back of it is not getting on the front nose of it. So he was smooth enough to get David moved over, went on by, got clean air, and was able to plant the nose.
This is a race for 8th position. Dave Blaney in the 93 car, about to be overtaken by his teammate Ward Burton.
Right quarter.
You heard the spotter stick in there and let Dave know where Ward was getting underneath him, let him know he's clear. Come on back down, get to the bottom of the racetrack, and go racing.
You were with us yesterday in our coverage of the NASCAR Busch Series event. Blaney was one of the drivers we talked about, along with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Matt Kenseth, moving up to the Winston Cup level for the 2000 season.
They definitely are. They got some very, very strong race teams. Those two are teammates. Ward Burton and Dale Blaney are going to be teammates, or are teammates right now, and along with Matt Kenseth's going to be going to the Roush team next year.
Here's Dale Jarrett riding with the point leader, running in the 10th position. Mark Martin has just bypassed Dale Jarrett for that spot.
I think one of the things about Dale, rarely makes a mistake, Alan. I think he's going to be willing to sit there today, let everybody else kind of let things shake out, make sure he protects himself, and he's going to be there tonight on that racetrack on that green car. Bobby Labonte, where is he?
Bobby running 2nd, Jarrett running in 10th. So you see, as of now, 195 points between the two. So Jarrett doing what he needs to do to try and clinch the title if he can.
Joe, as a car owner, you'd probably be telling your driver, just we'll keep you in touch where you got to run. You don't have to win this race today. You just got to finish so many spots within what Bobby Labonte's doing.
Well, some car owners be doing that, Mike. I don't I don't talk to my guys at all. They told me, you get in the corner and shut up. You're a football coach. You know nothing about this, and that's what I do. I pray. I'm not the technical owner, although some of the owners out here, Richard Childress, Robert Yates, some of those guys can do that, and I admire them for it. I didn't grow up in racing. I grew up in another sport, so I stay out of the way.
Let's get out to pit road, Marty Snyder.
Well, you guys talk about Dale Jarrett doing just what he needs to do. That's kind of the focus for these guys today. As we've talked about, he just needs to finish 8th, and they weren't very happy with the car at the beginning of happy hour. He said, I've got a top 10 car. But he said when he got out of the car at the very end of the race, guys, now I've got a top 8 car, and that's all they need to do this afternoon.
There you go. The man with the best car in the early laps in this race is John Andretti, driving Richard Petty's Pontiac there. Andretti leading 18 of 267 laps complete, while Dale Jarrett tries to lock up the NASCAR Winston Cup title. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Welcome back. Brian Williams with you from Homestead-Miami Speedway. A lot of attention being given the number 12 car in third place, the Mobil 1 car driven by the young man from Kentucky, Jeremy Mayfield. I talked with him before the race. He is on a rail right now. He's flying. Beforehand, he said, we got a new paint job. I love it. It just makes me feel faster out there. However, his owner, Roger Penske, when I talked to him, said, look, Jeremy's driving faster these days because he's got a new girlfriend. Faster he drives, faster he gets back to her. Alan, back to you.
Jeremy started this race in the 8th position. He is running third now, 2.9 seconds behind leader John Andretti, who continues to pace this Pennzoil 400 early in the going. You could see Andretti and Bobby Labonte, the first and second place cars, have put a little bit of a gap between themselves and Mayfield, who runs third.
Well, what it shows is the two cars up front are very much hooked up. They're running together good. Bobby Labonte, you know, his car is driving very well. Jeremy Mayfield's car is right on the bottom of the racetrack, and that's what you're looking for at Homestead.
Sometimes, and I say sometimes, if you got a buddy there, right where these two guys are right now, he might let his partner slip by to get 5 points. This kind of depends sometimes on that relationship. Doesn't happen, but these two guys right here look like they're going hard. I don't see that here.
Here comes Bobby looking down low off of turn number 2. 5 bonus points for the championship if he can get by Andretti. He's going to follow him into 3 this time.
You know why John's trying to not make it easy for Bobby, and Bobby will probably make the pass just as soon as I say this. There's 5 additional points for leading the most laps, and John is also in a points battle farther back in the field, and you know, if he can pick up another 5, it'd be good for him.
Andretti 16th in the championship standings now, in a tie for that position with Sterling Marlin. And remember that every position, the final Winston Cup rundown, means cash at the end of the year. John is making that inside awful tempting for Bobby. He's going to try him off turn 2 this time and down the back straightaway.
Coach is trying to coach him on here. I can see him moving his leg like, come on, Bobby, let's go.
There is some body language going on right there.
Yes, there is. He's letting him know he's there. He's pulling down to the inside to let him know he wants to try it, but just quite using that low side off the corner. Can't get it to stick. Is he going to make it work this time? Looks like he's got the nose up underneath him.
And it should be. John shouldn't race him into the corner here, and he didn't. Notice Bobby go on. Now he's trying to lead. And now Bobby's going to work on trying to lead this race as long as he possibly can. Go back to the 5 additional bonus points again.
So when he comes back around to the start-finish line, Bobby Labonte will officially lead a lap. He will collect 5 bonus points toward the Winston Cup Championship. Dale Jarrett is running in 9th position now. If Bobby leads the most laps and wins the race, Jarrett needs to finish 8th or better to lock up the title today. The leader's running up with the back of the first machine to go a lap down. Brett Bodine's car obviously ill handling here in the early going as Bobby goes to the outside of him and puts him a lap in arrears. Bobby Labonte's made a new friend. She is 12-year-old Cody Unser, daughter of 2-time Indy 500 champion Al Unser Jr. Cody was stricken this spring with transverse myelitis, a rare spinal cord infection, and she started her own foundation to help combat the illness. Labonte was not only the first to donate, but will serve as the honorary chair. And last weekend in Phoenix, Bobby's special guest got to say thanks in person and spread her motto among all that she met: it's not all bad.
Well, I think Bobby is very conscious of a lot of charity work he does, and having kids himself, Tyler, Madison, Donna there at home, I think this really touched Bobby, and I saw him kind of reach out, and I really was proud of him. He does a lot of things in the community.
Bobby got to race in this year's IROC Series, the International Race of Champions, as a substitute for Al Unser Jr., who backed out when Cody was befallen with her illness, and it was the money that Bobby won for Al in his place in that IROC Series that he used to start the donation process to Cody's foundation. So Bobby Labonte, top of the stack here, 3rd leader of this race. There you see some of the numbers on Bobby in 1999. Coach, pretty darned impressive.
I'd say the difference this year over our past years for our race team, we had a tough time with short tracks. This kind of track right here. And now the big turnaround is we run extremely well on these tracks, which puts us all the way across the board, and Bobby's been strong in each and every week. And I can remember the very first time we got on the pole at Las Vegas, I said, we've arrived. A flat racetrack. For us to do anything, that means we've arrived.